Scratch that. I'm so fucking retarded. Alright, so this panel's back from powder coat. Wanted to kind of go over the layout of the holes when you're doing cutouts. So there's kind of some detail here where you want to, get that detail and where the holes are when you're doing this mesh. So I try to keep all the spacing in line. What I mean by that is, if I lay these, the top and the bottom holes out. It's really windy, so if I lay the top and the bottom holes out, I will keep them parallel through, and that will even line up with this top one. In the spread, you can kind of see it starts consistent, and then it has a taper to where it gets to the middle. This is your middle, and then you can see that it kind of starts a gradual taper to the outsides. And what I do too is just, you want to just be mindful of your layout with the holes and your center line to center line, and try to keep them consistent, at least on each side. Have this consistent, and then these are spaced 2 inches and 2 inches on center. If you had a line here and a line here, that would be a 2-inch cross section, and then that's just where those lie. You don't really need to put another one in. The other thing is, depending on what kind of mesh or panel you're using inside as filler, whether that's expanded metal or like a woven mesh, you gotta be cautious and mindful of how many holes you need to put in there, because you don't always need to have a bunch of holes. You just need to put them in the right spots to hold tension, on the corners or whatever the shape is. So some types of material that you put in these cutouts will be a little more flimsy, and you're gonna need more of a mounting location for them. Some stuff that's thicker or more rigid for material, then you'll just have minimal holes. So this is a 4x4 woven stainless mesh, 3/16 from McMaster car. A lot of this stuff I get from McMaster. You can just get a small size like this, and it'll do quite a bit of stuff. So obviously you can see the scale. That's our panel. This is the back side, and I'm gonna cut this for those shapes. The one thing I'm also mindful of is, there's a cross section here, right? So there's a vertical, if you will, and a horizontal, and I like to try to line the panel up so when you make the cuts, everything is square, and when you look at the edge of the panel, then everything is lined up, and you're not having a edge dive crooked on here. It's all squared up. So what I did here is I just made a template. I traced the inside of the panel, and then I just did I guesstimated a 3/4 inch perimeter here. So what I can do with these guys is I can just take them, find where this thing lines up perfect. I'll probably go right to the edge, and then you'll see how like it keeps square. So that'll give me a good guide just to get an accurate piece of screen or mesh cut where I'm not trimming and trying to make it square to the panel. I just already have a template made, so I just trace that, cut it, and then it's ready to go. can see, I got all the mesh cut out. I used the template for cutting. You can see I used tape on top of the mesh just to get a good layout on there that's visible for cutting. Just used a basic 4.5-inch grinder with a cutoff wheel. Some people might want to use like a shear, you know, if you have the machinery for it. This is just what I use, so it is what it is. Yeah, I'm just gonna get these things set into our panel and bolted in with 1024 stainless hardware. When I'm doing these, I like to use anti-seize, putting any kind of small stainless hardware together, or any stainless hardware for that matter. Some people don't use it. I just like to put a little amount onto the threads, you know, in case I have to back something out or take it out. It just prevents the risk of having a seized nut on that piece of hardware. I have everything prepared, you know, Allen for the top, since I'm using a button head Allen. And then I have a socket and an impact for the back. I'll go really slow on this. You can just use a socket, you know, or a ratchet if you want. I always make sure to tighten things from the nut side of it and not the top hex side of it, because these are also subject to stripping. So just use something that holds that in place and then tighten from the back. The other important thing I have is, you know, you're probably gonna wonder how, you know, some of the mesh doesn't line up perfectly in these holes, and this is kind of just, you know, this is a center punch, and I just use it to persuade, you know, the mesh openings to fit in the holes, and then I'll just swap a piece of hardware in there. Check it out. So backside, sanded the corners, made them radius. Just either use a hand sander or like a Burr King. Everything's fastened in, tightened up. I wiped all the anti-seize off. You know, your fingers will get on the back. I just use Simple Green or something. That's what we got. So that's our shape. See, everything's pretty uniform. You can see how things kind of sight. You know, at least this row, the middle row and the top row all kind of have a theme together. Same with the spacing in the middle. You know, it's consistent. So, you know, I think this is like 2 inches down, 2 inches up, 2 inches down, 2 inches up, 2 inches over, you know, 2 inches over. Start in the middle and start going out, or vice versa. So I'm gonna wipe this thing down, install it in the car, and be done with it. Alrighty, so here's the panels, all installed in the car, nice and tight. You can, you know, it looks tight, but the seats, you can get a couple fingers back there. Harnesses are clear where they need to be, and you can kind of see it serves its purpose. The ventilation works. Kind of looks like a Pizza Hut logo on the top there, but it's okay. You know, the client wanted to get this thing like a barrier, you know, for the fuel cell that's back there and for the coolers, but still get ventilation and airflow. And so, you know, he's already taken this thing out a couple times and everything's worked as it needs to. So, you know, this was the first of the Fab Diaries kind of tutorials and how-tos. And, you know, obviously I need to refine this stuff. And if you guys have any kind of comments or, you know, questions or anything you want me to cover besides the stuff that is already on the list, let me know and enjoy. Thanks.